Hey everyone, Jennifer Ettinger here, and thinking about all of you again, hoping you're staying safe and healthy. And are you feeling happy? Is there a new definition of happy? And I know many people are feeling kind of guilty if they're feeling happy. So I decided to go to the source, the doctor in happiness. A dear friend of mine, Dr.Gillian Mandich, is going to be coming on At Home with Jen and sharing her perspective and guidance as to how we can reclaim and own and honor our happiness during these times. Stay tuned. Dr. Gillian, thank you for being here. You are
Hello.
a dear
Thanks for
friend.
having me.
Oh, absolutely. It's absolutely my honor to have you here. Not only are you a dear friend, but you are the person, the go-to person all around happiness based on your research as a scientist and all the work, extensive work you've done, like bravo, on the subject matter of health and happiness. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So
It's
we were
nice to
talking,
connect virtually,
yes,
you know?
right? I just love it. The power of social and digital coming together.
Mhm.
We were talking off recording about happiness, and I'm seeing people not know how to navigate this world of happiness. Either they're not feeling happy or they're very guilty about feeling happy. That we don't know what to do around our own happiness. So what is one supposed to do during this challenging time of finding your own way?
Yeah. I mean, this is such a relevant question, and it's on everybody's minds. And I think the bottom line is there's no right or wrong way to do right now. We've never lived through a pandemic like this. This is unprecedented times. And I think that we're all trying to do the best that we can. And can we look to science and to things to help inform us to try to make better decisions? Yes, absolutely. And we can touch on those things. And more so than that, I think the most important takeaway is that whatever you're feeling, it's okay. If you're feeling really happy, that's okay. If you're feeling anxious or scared, like there's so many emotions that are going to come up at different times right now, and it's not so much about feeling this or not feeling that. It's more about being present with your emotions, learning how to process them as opposed to bottle them up or push them aside. Because when we look in terms of healthy psychological functioning, like all the research really highlights for us the fact that the goal is not happiness all the time. And I'm a happiness researcher. I'm not happy all the time, nor would I recommend that for anybody.
Mhm.
And especially going through times like this, if you're not feeling that way, number one, remove the shoulds. I'm doing air quotes, right? Like there's
Yes.
no right way or you should be feeling this. What is. And that's part of it. And when we look at healthy psychological functioning, we have low points, we have high points, we have ebbs and flows, we have spaces in between where there's pause and there's quiet, because collectively, that's what creates the human experience. And especially right now, this is one of those opportunities to really focus and hone in on the resilience piece. Not so
Mhm.
much like happiness is sort of a byproduct of this, or it might be something we experience, but right now, more so than ever, looking at how can we take care of ourselves in the best way possible today? How can we feel those feelings and be okay with whatever feelings we're having?
So I love the ebbs and flows, and I always share with my clients, you have a right to your thoughts, feelings, and opinions. And
Yeah.
although like I proudly wear a big smile a lot, of course, I encourage not only myself and my clients, you have to process all emotions. It's not healthy to stifle.
Mm-mm.
But we're seeing now a new level, a new way of keeping up with the Joneses online. So before it was the Instagram perfection of life.
Yep.
Now what we're seeing is people saying like, I'm writing a book. I'm taking an online course. I got my doctorate in 2 weeks online during all of this. And now we're seeing that keeping up with the Joneses in a different way with
Mm.
people who are just having a difficult time getting out of bed. So what's your suggestion for those people that are paying attention to what's happening on social media with others and their successes?
I love that you brought this up. This is so when this first started, and just to be very full transparency, I am a very type A, I have a to-do list. I like to feel productive. And so when this first started, I saw, I don't remember if it was on Twitter or Instagram, some sort of tweet or quote or something along the lines of like, if you don't come out of this pandemic learning a new language, having a new skill, or writing a book, then you've wasted your time. And I remember reading that and thinking, like, I couldn't put my finger on why, but it didn't feel good to me to read that. This is
Mhm.
coming from the same person that when this all first started, I wrote myself a to-do list of all these things that I hadn't got done, like finishing a manuscript and some of those items on our to-do list that don't get there. I thought, this is going to be a great opportunity for me to get some of that stuff off my list. And then as the days started to unfold and, a couple days went by and a week went by and I hadn't really got to any of those things, I took some time and I reflected and I went looking into the literature too. And one of the things that became very apparent is we all deal with circumstances differently. And so for some people, they may be feeling, and actually, I've had days where I've felt very creative, and I've had days where I felt like not productive at all, like 0%. And that's where the keeping up with the Joneses can creep into our mind and start to make us feel like what we're doing right now is not good enough or not enough. And like, that's such a dangerous place to be, especially right now when we're under higher stress than normal. We don't need to add to our own pile. The message, I think, is whatever you're feeling is okay, like I talked about. And so if you're feeling like you want to do something, then do it. If you don't feel like you should. The other sort of side to that is it's a slippery slope to Netflix all day in your sweatpants for a week,
Yes.
right? So at the same time, like, is it okay to spend a day binge watching a show? Absolutely. Is it okay to have a glass of wine on a Tuesday? Absolutely. But when
Right.
that glass of wine becomes now Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, it's not just a one-off anymore. It's starting to become a habitual thing, and that's the danger zone. So I really feel like more so now than ever, having some clear structure around our day, but not feeling like we need to overly produce or create unless we want to. That's the piece. And it speaks to the bigger social media thing. I mean, I know you know this, right? Like comparing people's front story and what they're choosing to show to the backstory of
Yes.
all of that. That's when we get into danger because we're comparing to something that's not even real.
Yes. I always say
And
be aware, but don't compare.
oh, I love that.
Be
Yeah.
aware, but don't compare.
Because we never know. We never know what's going on
Yes.
behind those things, And so why create those stories? And right now, more than ever, self-compassion is like top of priority list for all of us. And I was actually I did a segment this morning and we were talking about positive self-talk on the social. And one of the things that I talked about was especially in situations where we feel like we don't have control, which is very much the case for a lot of what's going on right now. Where we find our power is in choosing our response because we always have our control over our response to what's going on. And when we're responding now, so more than ever, really prioritizing self-compassion, because when we're compassionate with ourselves, what that looks like is we're kind to ourselves. We recognize the common humanity in all of us, and it sort of levels the playing field. We're all feeling some level of stress and anxiety and uncertainty. And so if we can recognize that and just really be kind to ourselves and not start judging ourselves or adding to that pile of stress because we're already at a really high level, I think that is one of the most kind, health promoting, both physical and mental health things that we can do for ourselves right now.
Oh,
And, you know,
yes. Thank you for that.
yeah,
Because sometimes we just need an expert to share with us that give yourself that permission. Like I know I'm wired like that. I am a type A. And just to hear you say, like, give yourself the permission almost feels like validating what I am kind of thinking in my brain, but allowing myself to go, okay, that external source, experts sharing with me, relax.
yeah. And, I say this coming from a place of I've been writing these segments more so for me than anyone else right now.
I
I
love it.
I am scared too, and I'm afraid. And so I look at what's my skill set. I know how to go and read and understand research and synthesize things. So all of these things that I'm talking about, they were questions that I had in my mind. And I wanted to figure out, how do we navigate right now? This is such an uncertain time. And so really, I think we're all really in this together. And one of the beautiful things of watching this experience is seeing how, we're not operating in this isolation, in these tiny bubbles. We really are a collective global community, and our choices and actions really do extend beyond us, just like our happiness. There's actually research from Harvard that shows that our happiness extends 3 degrees from us. So when we focus on our happiness, the people that we touch, whether it's in person or virtually, it doesn't matter, they get happier as a result. And then also the people that they meet.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right? And so I think, especially now, so more than ever, where we're having to prioritize connection in different ways because we physically can't be close, but we don't need to be physically close to feel close to one another. So when we can realize that it really is bigger than us at this point, and all of our decisions that we're doing, whether we're following the the physical distancing things, washing our hands, wearing gloves and masks, these things that we can do reminds us that we're doing this for the greater collective good, and we can find peace and comfort in that thought as well, recognizing that we're all doing this together.
I love that. There's a hashtag, one world, one health.
Ooh,
And
I got goosebumps.
universal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Gillian, thank you so, so much. And where can people find you so they can continue to get educated and layered on developing their own happiness in their own way throughout our challenging times right now?
My website is my name, Gillian Mandich, and it's Gillian with the G. So Gillian Mandich. And then on socials, all of them are at my name, at Gillian Mandich. And those are great places to find me. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for your pearls of wisdom, and
Thank
stay
you for
safe.
having me. Yes.
Anytime you want to come back, you just let me know.
Okay, I will.
Take care.